Hello, Footballer Nation, and welcome to the greatest rising podcast in football. My name is Carson, and I am a Battlehawksaholic.
My name is Alex, and I'm a Panthers-aholic, not to be confused with Carolina.
I'm Damian, and I'm a UFL-aholic.
To hear more about the UFL and the upcoming postseason, make sure to stay tuned for the rest of our episode. But first, we're going to go ahead and roll that intro. Hello, Footballer Nation, and welcome to Footballers Anonymous, the greatest rising podcast in football and the only podcast you can find on the internet that covers the UFL. It's true. Don't look it up. Welcome, and thank you for joining us after the final week of the UFL regular season.
You know, I've been thinking about this with a lot of intent lately. When the UFL finishes, will we be in the after hours of the after hours?
I think we will, I don't know.
Call it the midnight shift.
Midnight shift?
Football is Anonymous midnight shift because it's all like the NFL world's all dark. Nothing's happening.
That's fitting too, because we usually record at midnight, so all of Footballers Anonymous is the midnight shift. Speaking of the midnight shift, we're going to get into, we asked you to ask us questions, and we answered them. We'd like to thank you, Footballer Nation, first off. We got a couple questions this week. We appreciate it. We love to answer them for you, so we are going to go ahead and jump right in. Our first question is from Angie Madsen. Shout out Angie Madsen. And this question asks, don't come at me. We would never come at you. But what is a first down? Crying emoji. And to explain that, I would like to turn the time over to our resident football expert, Mr. Ian Watkins.
To put it in simple terms, a first down. Where do I begin? In the NFL, when a team starts off with the ball, they're at the line of scrimmage. It marks where the ball is placed. Then, 10 yards away from that spot, they place two little markers, and that is considered the first down line. The first down is an event in which a team manages to move the ball 10 yards forward, resulting in a reset of their downs, which allows them to then continue moving the ball. Once a team achieves a first down, the line of scrimmage gets moved up, and another 10 yards from that, they get a new first down marker.
Just an excellent analysis. Thank you, Ian. We very much appreciate you and your expertise in the matter. Our second question comes from Seabaird82. It's not me. It's not me. It's actually not me.
Actually not him.
It's actually not me. And this asks, best slip and slide play. This is, of course, in reference to the Battlehawks Defenders game, which was a Swamp Bowl. My personal favorite slip and slide play was not actually when it slipped and slided, but actually on the first punt of the game, or the Battlehawks' first punt of the game, immediately after the weather delay. Where, keep in mind, previously over the air they had bragged about how amazing the Defenders field was at draining. Battlehawks could get nothing done, and so they went to punt the ball. It did not bounce once. It instead just floated in the water. It just floated.
Funny. I feel like we have an unwritten rule here at Footballers Anonymous that during our question segment, we never seem to choose the same answers as one another. So I think I'm going to do everyone a service, and I'm going to take something off the board here so that Ian doesn't choose it and go on a little rant. My slip and slide play, my favorite slip and slide play is not going to be from this Battlehawks game. It's going to be when Justin Fields slipped and slid against the San Francisco 49ers, and now you can't rant about it. So go ahead, Ian.
You don't even know what you're talking about, my friend. My favorite slip and slide play dates back to Bears 49ers 2022.
What I just said.
There was a very, very unique play in that game in Soldier Field. Justin Fields, under center, snaps the ball, runs 22 yards, and scores a touchdown. From the 8. That's right, guys. An 8-yard gain. But he ran 22 total, which led to the Bears later winning that game and getting the iconic belly slide into the crouch flex that we all know and love. Thank you.
The belly slide was recreated during this UFL game too. It was quite fun.
Dare I say it was better than Justin Fields?
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
I'm just kidding.
whoa.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just doing it to create controversy. I didn't actually see the slide.
All right. Yeah, that was a little questionable there, Alex, but totally okay because that's what this segment is about, being questionable and asking questions. But now we're
And
going
now
to turn the
y'all
time
may
over
have
to you.
comments on it. Y'all may have comments on what I just said. But I'll do you one better. I'm not even going to necessarily do a comment for comment of the week. I'm doing a review. You want to know why? Because I need to respect our Apple Podcast viewers in my comment of the week segment. I have been doing a disservice to the people, the great people leaving 5-star reviews over on Apple Podcasts. We are 8-0. We are undefeated. And now I'm going to read off our comment/review of the week. It is from random viewer 28-3. Sorry, Falcons fans. It says, good bologna. Yummy. I don't know why that says that, but thank you. I appreciate your enthusiasm of the Footballers Anonymous bologna. Maybe we have to sell some bologna.
We here at Footballers Anonymous give good baloney.
We have to sell it on our merch shop.
We do.
Random viewer 28-3. Send us an email. And when we produce that merch, you will get a part of the profits.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and now we're going to get into very quickly the 2024 fan-voted favorite segment of Footballers Anonymous, Carson's College Knowledge. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It was a very exciting world in the land of college football, but it was not because of anything that is happening on the field. It is what's happening in the video games. Exactly 4 days ago, as of recording, we got the reveal trailer for College Football 26. And I gotta tell you, looks like a pretty good game. Lots of great features. Head coaches are actually in it now. Very exciting. The whole trailer was themed around Enter Sandman. Love to see it. You got the Virginia Tech entrance in there. I love to see it. We all love to see it. Will Collins Lee be in the game? Unfortunately, no, which does hurt it a little bit. But for the most part, I think it'll be a pretty solid game. And we're very excited. We will be playing that. Up next, Boise State. This is also very big news. Boise State is officially leaving the Mountain West for the Pac-12. Great for them. The new Pac-12 is actually starting to look pretty good. Could be exciting to watch. Could be pretty exciting. And the last thing we're going to talk about is something that we've actually mentioned the past couple of weeks. We talked about a situation with the Ohio State-Texas game, which is potentially college football game of the year, that was originally scheduled for Big Noon, that Ohio State really didn't like, to the point that they started to pass legislation to make doing that illegal. But Fox did grant them permission to move their game versus Texas to primetime, and Texas said no. So it will, in fact, still be a noon game because Texas, I don't remember who said it, but someone in Texas's management said it's because they don't want to miss church. Good for you. Good for you. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your Carson's College Knowledge, which means we get to get into our final UFL segment of the regular season. We have a little bit of news for you today.
The all UFL team has officially been announced.
There weren't a whole lot of surprises. Most of it was about as expected. Maybe a couple things I would have changed.
Quarterback
I
was
see it.
Bryce Perkins. So shout out Bryce Perkins. There was 2 running back selections, one of which being Jacob Sailors of the Battlehawks and Jashawn Corbin of the San Antonio Brahmas.
I know a lot of controversy is surrounding Jordan Ta'amu not getting selected because Tom has been good, but I'll also say this. When they matched up, it was 38-14 in Perkins' favor, and Perkins has also been out 2 weeks, so his stats may not be as reflective of how he's been doing. And if you look just at the stats, I think Perkins deserves it. I am biased, of course. They're both very good quarterbacks for the UFL.
We will be talking a little bit more about how that affects the MVP race next week, because those will be announced after the games next week, and we will, of course, share our own thoughts on those positions. A couple of other things to note on the offense. As far as offensive line is concerned, pretty standard. 2 Battlehawks in the offensive line. Tight ends was very interesting. Sal Canelo of the Arlington Renegades and Gunnar Oaks of the Michigan Panthers. I was very supportive of this Gunnar Oaks pick. We did not talk about him very much, but he was a very strong presence on their offense.
Not only was there 2 Battlehawks on the line, there was also 2 Panthers.
This is true.
Maybe the 2 really good offensive lines signify something about the games next week. Definitely. That's definitely how it works.
That's the hope, isn't it? That's the hope.
I hope. Another thing I'd like to personally comment on is that if you flip around through the entire all UFL team, there will not be a single Memphis showboat seen.
Really?
This is true. There are no
And-
Oh,
boats.
wow.
I believe, if I'm looking correctly, there's only 1 roughneck and there's only 2 Brahmas.
There's 3 Brahmas.
3
One on
Brahmas.
offense, one on defense.
There
and
is
one on
3 Brahmas. You're right. There are more Brahmas than Roughnecks. There's the same amount of Brahmas as Renegades. Maybe if we flip over to the defensive side of the ball.
Hold on. Before we do, also, the
Okay.
only other notes on offense are Chris Rowland of the Defenders at wide receiver and Tyler Vaughns of the Renegades at wide receiver. Both great selections. Now, Alex, you want to take us to the defense?
Yes, the all UFL team defense has been led majority by the Defenders, which is to be expected for most of their performances this year. They obviously had a little bit of a rocky patch in the middle of the season, but they have a lot of talented players on the defensive side of the ball. It's obviously their strength. They had 2 defensive linemen being Derek Robertson and Joe Wallace. They had a linebacker being Anthony Hines and their corner DeAndre Baker. Rounding out the rest of the defense, there were 2 Battlehawks, there were 2 Panthers, there was a Stallion, there was the only Roughneck, there was a Renegade, and there was a Brahma.
So yeah, on the Battlehawks side, you've got Willie Harvey at linebacker, amazing at what he does. I love him. And then you have Pita Taumapinu, who is the current sack leader in the UFL, and I believe he's not. Never mind. Yes, he is the current sack leader in the UFL at 7.5 sacks, 37 sack yards. All very impressive. Anything else from the defense?
The only other thing I want to note is that for a split second, I was confused on why safety wasn't just S and it was SAF, which is a silly thing to be confused about. I figured it out pretty quickly, but I was like, nothing else really too big to note on the defensive side, though. All the players were pretty deserving overall. Special teams side of things, Rodrigo Blankenship is the kicker. at
Obvious
Mining,
pick.
which is a very obvious pick. The punter pick was Brad Wing, which is a very good pick. I
The
think the
Brahmas.
only other punter that was could have been picked over Brad Wing was St. Louis's punter.
Yeah.
It was kind of a 1A, 1B type situation. Ian, if you want to talk about a Brahma.
Why would he want to talk about a Brahma?
Yeah, I don't know how. The only Brahma worth talking about is Brad Wing. Great punter, great guy, great presence on the team. They're probably glad to have him. That's about all there is to say. I don't know why you're trying to insinuate more.
We also have the kick returner, Chris Rowland of the Defenders. It's a very solid pick. He had some great returns, even this last week. Very solid for him. One interesting thing I'd like to point out, at least about these posts on Instagram, the all-team offense post has around 1,100 likes. The all-team defense post has around 900 likes. And the special teams post has 2,100. So people love special teams. I mean, that is kind of the biggest things of the UFL. So
Take notes, Pete Prisco.
I think it's more so people love Rodrigo Blankenship.
well, yes,
Well,
of course.
yeah, the special teams have been the biggest success in the UFL in terms of like the players going to the NFL. Obviously, we see Cavante Turpin, we see Jake Bates, just to name a couple.
So those are the members of the all UFL team. Very interesting. We might, hey, if you guys ever want us to do a all UFL fantasy draft for a quick picks, you should let us know in the comments. Or if you have anything else you wanted to say about the all UFL teams, you should say it in the comments. Or if you have anything to say about baloney, you should say it in the comments. Or anything else. Literally anything else.
Or maybe you'll want to comment on our video regarding quick picks coming out before the episode drops. Stay tuned for that. You can get some nice comments in there about our quick pick selections. You'll see later.
Or you can comment on both or everywhere. We love to hear from you.
You may even get a video of me singing that you can comment on, potentially.
Potentially. We have no idea what the
Potentially.
not script
Potentially.
will do. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get into our recaps of this last week of the UFL season with week 10. So, Alex, would you like to take us away with some scores and players to know?
We're going to the swamps for the first matchup between the St. Louis Battlehawks and the DC Defenders up in the nation's capital.
That was an
You
accent.
know, there was an accent. I felt like I had to give it like a little bit of an introduction
You did a good
because it
job.
was the swamp game. This game was funny. Like, bar anything else, this game was funny to watch. It was quite entertaining, even though it was a low score. The rain honestly made it a lot better of a game than it could have been because obviously they're playing next week. 13-8 was the final. That's a deceptively low score, and just it seems unentertaining, but it was not unentertaining. It was quite entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. I think I want Carson to go and talk about all the water details. He has every
Oh.
play recapped in his mind.
Oh,
and
there
I
were
think
so
this would be
many.
good for the recap.
Oh, there were so many. And I'll
This
talk.
might be the only time you see me hand this off.
So I will talk more about them when we actually talk about the Battlehawks. But so, yeah, there were lots of highlights, lots of bad snaps, bad throws. We had the first safety ever in UFL history because of a bad snap. Lots of slipping and sliding for extra yardage, both backwards and forwards. It was so funny to watch. I enjoyed it. I almost went to this game. Thankfully, I didn't, but I almost did. So, would have been an experience.
Thank you. Our next game was between the Roughnecks and the Panthers on Saturday. We are not going to comment on my
We will.
previous confidence in the Roughnecks picks. This game reminded me of why Bryce Perkins is so valuable to this team and why he should be MVP. Last week was a little better, but this week offense was not really doing well. Half of our scoring was pretty much gifted by special teams. Pretty much all of it. Etling didn't play too well. We threw in a guy named Lombardi. You would think that he would be good if his last name is Lombardi. Both of them had 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. Jake McClendon of the Roughnecks, he did what he does. He was quite solid for them this season. We ended up losing 19-12, but it doesn't really matter too much. Obviously, this game was just for bragging rights. But unfortunately, I got this pick wrong, and I should have expected this considering I picked the Roughnecks over the Defenders, but I cannot go against my home team. Well, not but I cannot go against my team. The next game is the Renegades and the Brahmas. This game was about how you'd expect a Renegades versus Brahmas game to go, more like how you'd expect a Brahmas game to go. Callan Mond had a decent completion percentage. The Brahmas put up 6 points. The Renegades just blew them out. Perez went 26 of 32 for 283, didn't throw a touchdown, but they also had multiple rushing touchdowns, including one from Perez. San Antonio just needs to stop what they're doing and get out of San Antonio before they embarrass themselves more. That game where they got blown out and shut out in the championship last year completely ruined them, I like to think. But we still have not heard from destroying Donald De La Haye. And besides that, there's not really much else to talk about the Brahmas in this game, nor the Renegades. Their season's also done. The last game, this was even more embarrassing than the Brahmas. Memphis really put on a show for their fans, getting blown out 46-9. Jamar Smith played very well. They threw in their backup Peasley. Their backup to the 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 backup. Even though Mago is back. They threw in Peasley. He was all right. I mean, he did fine considering they were blowing him out of the water. Not much else to talk about this game besides the fact that there were multiple pick sixes, 2 pick sixes that helped ramp up the score. Dresser Wynn did not play well. We were establishing quite a decent amount of confidence in Dresser Wynn, and then he did not play well the last 2 weeks. And I get that he's on the showboats, but man, this is embarrassing. This will if they do the smart thing. This will likely be their last game in Memphis. I expect them to become the Tampa Bay Bandits again. That might be what happens. That might not be what happens. But embarrassing way to go out.
All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the epitome of all Footballers Anonymous episodes, the power rankings. I was trying to think of a cool adjective and couldn't. The power rankings. See, we here at Footballers Anonymous use this thing called math. And when we math here at Footballers Anonymous, we each make a list of every single team from worst to best, individually in the UFL. And then we use this math to put our lists together and create a collective power rankings list. Now, occasionally, because math, sometimes the number values we assign to these teams have ties. However, last week was our first ever week at Footballers Anonymous making a power rankings list that we were entirely unanimous on. And ladies and gentlemen, we have repeated history, as this week we are once again completely unanimous in our power rankings. So we're going to jump right into it. What?
You know what this means?
What does it mean?
Footballers Anonymous is going to go for the three-peat sooner than the Chiefs.
This is true. So, ladies and gentlemen,
we might get the three-peat sooner than the Chiefs.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start with our infinite baddies. And starting at number 7, we have playing what was probably their last game in Memphis, the Boats. The permanently established Boats.
They don't get the show back. If they come back to Memphis this year or keep the name, I expect them to change it to Boats.
And that being said, ignore all the times Alex just said showboats.
Correct.
Of course. Yeah, we honor credibility and ownership, and the only reason I was referring to them as the prior name was due to the send-off, but I realized my mistake. So, sorry, Boats. Actually,
Man, we kind of established...
How could the Boats make me think that I should give them any gratitude? They're like the Kyle Pitts of UFL teams.
Oh, that's a
That's
little
a little
bit of a
harsh.
stretch, but it's Kyle Pitts, man.
Especially when we're talking about especially when we talk about our ultimate baddie, the 8th UFL team.
You know what I think we should do with the 8th UFL team? The 8th UFL
Nothing.
team, their team has been their name has been taken away. And I was talking to Alex before the podcast at how like the Ultra Baddie title is not good enough for the 8th UFL team. So you know what? For all the future Footballers Anonymous After Hours where we cover the UFL, we're officially renaming the Ultra Baddies title to the Brahmas. It is the Brahmas.
Wait, can we
What's that mean?
I have an idea. For even the NFL segment, we do Baddie, Ultra Baddie, Brahmas.
I can agree
Well,
with that.
I don't know what that means. Is that like Spanish for baddies?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why they're so bad.
Who are they?
No, I'm saying like the team that gets placed in that spot. That's why they're so bad. That's why we're calling them the Spanish baddies.
In this case, it's the 8th UFL team, the one that wears yellow. Kellen Mond is the single biggest disappointment of the UFL season. We mentioned it with Dresser Win, but there have been a lot of underrated quarterbacks that we have started to put our faith in or get excited about that have just disappointed. I mean, part of that is because it is the league of second chances, so you're gonna get a lot of people who like. There's a reason they're not in the NFL, which is unfortunate. Kellen Mond was easily the biggest disappointment. I hope I do not have to watch him ever again because he disappointed me a lot, and I'm sure he disappointed 8th UFL team fans everywhere. We don't have one of those on the podcast, but we certainly offer them our condolences, and you have the right to switch team. You have the right, which is saying something because that's not something you can do, but you have the right.
And maybe the team will switch teams too.
That we hope so. But anyway,
They had some okay home attendances.
that's rough. Oh, speaking of rough, at number 6, that was unintentional. At number 6, we have the Roughnecks, who ruined a perfect week for the second week in a row.
The Roughnecks really went out this
Taxi,
season, and they showed their grit and
taxi.
work.
Yeah, get me out of here.
Alex is leaving because he's the reason he sold our perfect weeks. Alex claims to be the Roughnecks expert. He did say that multiple times. He said, I, Alex Joseph, claim to be the Roughnecks expert when it comes to the UFL.
Word for word.
He was 7-2 in picks, and he bragged, I'm 7-2 on picks. And then he was super confident. He's like, guess I'm gonna be 8-2 now. 7-3.
We all trusted you. And it was against the
This is
Panthers, too.
all his fault. His own team
Can I
choked
make
it.
it up to you?
He was back.
I have a mug in my hand. Hopefully, this is good luck to the Philadelphia Stars.
Oh.
That does help a little bit, but that does help a little bit.
You know, if the Roughnecks played against the Philadelphia Stars, the Stars would have won and kept my perfect streak alive.
Especially if
They
Legacy
would've-
Case Cookus was on the squad.
Especially if Kate Cookus was there. Yes, sir. Yes,
They're
sir.
waiting for that legacy game. Hopefully next season with the Stars.
I really hope he goes to the Stars so I can see Legacy Case Cookus. I'm learning a lot. I've been being educated on a lot of different hype recently. I tried IBC root beer for the first time this week after our draft last week. Was very
And
good.
shout out
Life-changing.
the 7th overall pick in the 3rd round of the 2025 Football Anonymous Sodas draft.
I should have
Very-
taken them 4.
Was
I
very
should have
good.
taken them 4.
And I would very much like to believe in Case Cookus, but I haven't seen the Legacy game, and I don't think that'll happen until the Stars come back. So we hope for that. But ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the top portion of our power rankings where we get into our playoff teams. The
No,
4
we're not.
teams.
Skip
No, we're not. We next up number 5.
Oh, you're so right.
We have the Arlington Renegades.
I failed. I
Um,
forgot they existed.
You forgot a former XFL champion existed.
An XFL
only
champion who
team-
went 4-6.
The only team that's not the Stallions that has won a championship. Think about it.
No, not ever.
In the modern era.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, and they went 4-6. They went 4-6 that year. Honestly, I forgot the Renegades existed, and rightfully so. They beat the Brahma, the 8th team in the UFL this season.
Well, I mean, I guess the A team in the UFL is the Brahma, but
Yes, in this case, they are the Brahma.
with all that being said, the Renegades just achieved a new best in the regular season in their history, which is really funny to say because they are
Really?
champion. Yes, they had never hit. They were 4-6, and then they were. I think they were either 4-6 or 3-7 last season. I think they were 4-6, and the Defenders were 3-7. But I'm gonna double check myself.
Also, fun fact about the Renegades, they have the highest point differential in the league this year.
I'm a liar. The Renegades were the ones that were 3-7 last year.
Wait, in 2023, the Renegades went 7-3 in the XFL. So
No, they did not. There was only one XFL season.
this does not make sense. Oh no, it's 3-7. I don't
Yes,
know
they were
what that
3-7
Google just
in the
lied
first
to me.
UFL season.
Google just lied to me. Anyways, we're moving on from the Renegades because they just disappointed and I don't have anything to say. So now with that, we are entering our top 4 teams, which are in the playoffs. So those bottom 4 teams that we talked about, we will not be talking about again. So, say goodbye, especially to some of them who we may really never talk about again. Take a moment, say goodbye. We'll wait. All right.
Goodbye.
Okay, moving in to team number 4, our first team to clinch a playoff spot. We have the DC Defenders, who ended the season with 6 wins.
Which is really surprising because they could have had 8, honestly, but they choked against the Roughnecks and then they lost to the Battlehawks. So I guess that's what happens when you find out you can't get home field advantage. But
I mean, yes, Jordan Ta'amu has improved a lot this season, and he was already an MVP target at the beginning of the season, and he has only since improved. Very interested to see how he will play in the Battle Dome this week. But the Defenders are currently sitting at number 4 and are kind of our underdogs for the playoffs, which is kind of interesting. The top 3 teams, however, are pretty neck and neck with each other. And starting with number 3, Alex, it is the team from Charlotte, North Carolina.
oh, sorry, the Carolina Panthers. No, I'm sorry. No, we're talking about the team from Fort Lauderdale, the Florida Panthers.
No.
The Panthers. Maybe okay. Here's the thing about the Panthers. We've had a very good season. Obviously, we lost the last 2 weeks, just like the Defenders. But I don't think it was as. I think this week was a little bit worse. But like considering we weren't making the playoffs, or we weren't going to host in the playoffs anyway, and then the Perkins got injured. Perkins was seen on the sidelines of the game against the Roughnecks, though, in pads, in pads. So it's a good sign, I hope. I think he should be good to play. I cannot confirm that. So if he's not good to play, we might be screwed. Hopefully, him being on the sideline in pads is a good sign. I really want to get this win versus the Stallions, not only to knock off the 3-time defending champions, but also to finally get a win against them, since we are 0-7 against them, I believe.
0-7.
0-7 in the modern era. So
Isn't it 0-8 now?
I can't remember if it's now 0-7 or if
No,
it's now 0-8.
it's now 0-7.
I think it will be 0-8 if we lose. I think that's
Yes.
what it was. Yeah.
Correct.
Regardless, it'll be a great game. Jamar Smith has been playing very good for the Stallions, so that worries me.
Speaking of which,
But-
the Stallions are number 2. If you want to just jump into them, they are number 2.
Yes. So the Stallions are number 2. This is going to be a very good game. We're not going to spoil stuff too fast because we will get into the games in a minute. But the Stallions obviously decimated the Boats, but they've been kind of on cruise control since their very close loss to the Battlehawks. It'll be a very good playoff game down there in Birmingham, and it'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, so that's our number 3 and number 2 team. That will be our USFL championship as well. And at number 1, we have the St. Louis Battlehawks, who will be hosting the XFL championship in St. Louis this coming Sunday. I'm very, very optimistic about the Battlehawks. Max Duggan still 5-0 as a starter. He obviously did not play in the Swamp Bowl because that was a death trap. But even with Brandon Silvers, the pass game looked incredible. Receivers are producing. Hakeem Butler is looking like prime Hakeem Butler the past couple of weeks, and our other receivers. We have an amazing receiving core. But even then, like the highlight of St. Louis is the rushing attack with Max Duggan, Jacob Sailors, and Jarvian Howard. It's easily the best rushing attack in the UFL, in no small part to their incredible offensive line. But they are playing against, objectively, one of the better defenses in the UFL, which we will also talk about in just a minute. So it's going to be a pretty big challenge for them, especially since this team does have the edge on them, like the Stallions do the Panthers, less extremely, but they do. So with that, quickly going through our power rankings, before we get into our footballer select, we have at the Brahma position, the 8th UFL team, farewell. At number 7, we have the Boats, farewell. At number 6, we have the Roughnecks, farewell. At number 5, we have the Renegades, farewell. And at number 4, we have the Defenders, see you on Sunday. At number 3, we have the Panthers, see you on Sunday. At number 2, we have the Stallions, see you on Sunday. And at number 1, we have the Battlehawks, see you on Sunday. Friendly reminder, these are our power rankings, which automatically makes them better than Pete Prisco's. Ian, would you like to take us through this weekend?
Yes, sir. Hopping straight into footballer select. Last week we all went 3-1. Thank you, Alex. First game, we have the Panthers taking on the Stallions Sunday, June 8th at 2 p.m. at Protective Stadium. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to make it business. I'm going Stallions. They're going to be 0-8 in the modern era. The Panthers are. I have faith in the Stallions. I have faith in Jamar Smith. I think they have a solid rush. I think they have a lot to fight for, being 3-time defending champs.
Well, obviously, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go with the Panthers. I don't have to give much reason for why I'm going my team, but
I think, this is hard. I want the Panthers to win for sure. I'm trying not to let my own personal bias affect me here. I love MVP Bryce Perkins. He is my MVP this year. Only a little concerned about how he'll do playing off of injury. Shouldn't be too bad, but it is the Stallions. And I think I might also have to make a business decision here and pick the Stallions. I am really scared by this team, and I also partially hope the Panthers beat them so we don't have to play the Stallions, because that game against them in the regular season was terrifying, and I don't want to go through that again. But I think I've just loved what I've seen from the Stallions, especially these past couple weeks with Jamar Smith. They are a force to be reckoned with, so I'm going to go with the Stallions.
Next up, we have the Defenders taking on the Battlehawks on Sunday, June 8th at 5 p.m., this time in the Dome at America Center. I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to take the Battlehawks. It's the one team, it's for the Footballers Anonymous 1 seed versus the 4 seed. I have a lot more faith in the Battlehawks offense. I think the Defenders defense has slowed down heavily since the beginning minute of the season. And I just like the Battlehawks way more as a full unit.
I'm obviously going to agree. The Battlehawks just look incredible. They look like a complete team. They have depth at all of their positions, especially quarterback. I love what they're doing, and home field advantage here is going to be absolutely huge. I think this should be a Battlehawks W.
I'm going to agree with that. Max Duggan is undefeated as a starter. This is different from week 3 when the Defenders dominated. Not saying the Defenders won't put up a fight. I think it will be close. I think it'll be very close, in fact, but I think the Battlehawks pull out within the end. I'd also like to note for the listeners, we usually go off of EST. The times that were listed in our games were because of Ian being in Central Time. Those are the Central Time times. So 2 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Eastern.
You should definitely go watch those. And you should really go if you happen to be in the area because the UFL needs the support. And tickets are super cheap, and these are going to be great games. And if not, you should definitely watch because they will be incredible. Thank you, Ian, for taking us through those. We're hoping to get another perfect week under our belt, even if it is just with 2 games.
Now, before we continue, let's get a word from our sponsors.
Mayotivations with Will Levis.
All right. Settle down, Footballers Anonymous faithful. This is not a drill. We've got news that's bigger than a Battlehawks tailgate and almost even more unstoppable than, well, Mitchell David Trubisky on a fourth quarter drive. Almost.
Preach it, Carson. And while we're at it, let's talk about the official Footballers Anonymous merch store. Now live at footballersanonymous-shop.fourthwall.com.
Hold on. Before we get too hyped, let me put on the actual, real Arizona Coyotes hat. It's the only thing less cursed than Peter Prisco's Twitter feed.
That's right, Alex. Get your hat game on because it's playoff season. And that means it's time for the special FBA playoff sale. For the next 2 weeks, use code ALLUFL at checkout and get 10% off your entire order.
And hey, this ad wasn't written by some AI. We are real people with real love for Trubisky, real PTSD from watching the Shane Waldron Bears offense, and real fashion sense. Kinda.
What do you mean, kinda? Anyway, and here's the real prize. The first 5 customers, you get the FBA VIP treatment. That's a personalized video message from each of us. Probably featuring random Trubisky praise and at least one joke about my questionable fashion sense along the way.
If you're in the first 50, you get your name immortalized in the credits at the end of every video. Like a Hall of Fame, but cooler because it's us. And also because Mitchell David Trubisky will be smiling down upon you.
Trubisky is smiling right now. I can feel it.
Wait, I don't have those on hand.
Just roll with it. Just roll with it. Just do what you can.
You there! You've been charged with fashion crimes against fandom. I'm placing you under arrest. No merch, no style. Let's fix that at footballersanonymous-shop.fourthwall.com.
And while Alex arrests the merciless masses, let's remind everyone that Mitchell David Trubisky is the GOAT of football. He doesn't scramble, he glides. He doesn't throw, he blesses.
In this store, this is our way of spreading that blessing to you, the viewers. Trubisky wouldn't want it any other way.
So, one last time, Footballers Anonymous-shop.fourthwall.com. Get your discount code ALLUFL for 10% off during the playoffs. FBA VIP status, credits, Trubisky worship, Coyotes hats, arrests, all the good stuff.
This is your moment to join the Trubisky truthers and to look good while you're at it. And don't end up like that guy over there in my shop.
And now, cue the all-new, all-original Footballers Anonymous ad outro music.
Yo, it's Carson, Alex, Ian in the booth, dropping merch talk, straight spitting that truth. We got hoodies, tees, and a whole lot more. Get dripped out, hit the link. Let's settle the score. Ballers Anonymous-shop.fourthwall.com. Yeah, that's the spot where the fit come from. First 5 on the scene, VIP in the game. Personal vids from the host, yeah. Remember the name, first 50 on the list. Credits roll like a flame. Supporters on screen, every video's the same. Footballer Nation, you know where to go. Merch stores live and now you're part of the show. Get your name on the credits, let your fandom glow. Footballers Anonymous dash shop.fourthwall.com. Let's roll. FBA EIP first 5 gonna shine. Custom bids from the crew and the con. So click that link, catch some heat, get your shine. Footballers Anonymous dash shop.fourthwall.com. It's prime time. Yo, Carson repping the Red Sea with pride. Mr. Electric brings that Bills Mafia to hype. Ian's on the mic, Bears and Stroud. We got your teams, your dreams, and the merch worldwide. From beanies to hoodies, let your colors show. Footballers Anonymous dash shop.fourthwall.com. Let's go. Rep the pie, hit the drop and get your name in the lights. First 50 on the credits, every episode right. We the crew that keeps it real. Rap the game and spit the feel. VIPs, that's the deal. First 5 special vid makes it real. First 50 on the credits scroll. Your name and light, it's gold. Your name and lights, that's the goal. Footballers Anonymous, the merch, the soul. Footballers Anonymous dash shop.fourthwall.com. Let's roll. Footballer Nation, you know where to go. The merch store is loud and now you're part of the show. Get your name on the credits, let your fandom glow. Footballers Anonymous dash shop.fourthwall.com. Let's roll. FBA VIPs first 5 gonna shine. Cause some bids on the crew on a pecan. So quick that night, get your shine. Footballers Anonymous dash shop.fourthwall.com. Style shop.
All right. Man, that was a really good song. Sorry, I just kind of got really into it. All right, I guess once I go visit Footballers Anonymous shop.fourthwall.com and use code ALLUFL to get 10% off of my order, I think we should move on to the NFL segment. What do you guys think?
Where did this Coyotes hat come from?
I don't know. It's like that guy in the ad.
Yeah, weird. He must have put it on me when I was making my hot chocolate.
We should probably introduce ourselves to just kind of recenter. Hey guys,
Right.
Bizarre.
my name is Carson, and I am a cardsaholic.
My name is Alex, and I'm a Billsaholic.
And I'm Ian, and I'm a Bearsaholic.
You got a hat too. Impressive.
I just pulled it from the archives.
Welcome to Footballers Anonymous NFL segment. We got a little bit of NFL news for you, and then we got one more segment to kind of wrap the show up. So let's get started with some NFL news.
Starting off, Saquon Barkley has been named the official cover athlete of the next Madden. He is also the first offensive player for the Eagles to ever be a part of the 99 club, the cover being his backward turtle.
Next, the San Francisco 49ers traded for Bryce Huff. Carson believes that this will not save their season. They'll still go 0-17, but we'll have to see how this affects their season.
Okay, hold on. 0-17 is a little harsh. They're gonna find a way to lose 18. It's not good. That's not much. In other news, Lions Frank Ragnow announced his retirement just kind of out of nowhere. We all kind of assumed it was for contract reasons, but apparently it was not. So that's a bit of a hit for them on the line.
And the most important news of the offseason that you will ever hear, Joshua Patrick Allen. Well, okay, there's only one more thing that could have possibly been more important is if it was Mitchell David Trubisky getting married, but he's already married. Joshua Patrick Allen got married to Haley Steinfeld. You know, he may have saw sinners, he may have not saw sinners. Didn't stop him. He married the girl. He married his wife, Haley Steinfeld. They looked very happy. Plenty of people there, including David Trubisky himself. They should be honored, as well as people like Deion Dawkins, Khalil Shakir. Oh my God, I just saw the photo like yesterday. And he had a ton of people there, like by his side while they were getting the actual thing done.
It's the only ring Josh Allen will get in his entire NFL career.
Unless
not
Trubisky
true.
wins it for him.
Correct.
That is not true, but okay. He just had to get the first one to actually get. He has to know what the ring looks like to actually know what he's going for. He wasn't trying that hard before.
He had several rules changed for him, but sure, I guess he wasn't trying that hard.
He was going for reform in the system before actually going for winning winning the ring.
Oh,
Trust.
how noble of him.
I know. Just a little quick note for sports fans that don't just watch football. The NHL and NBA finals have been decided. It was the Oilers and the Panthers in a rematch in the hockey side of things, not to be confused with Carolina, not to be confused with Michigan. And on the other side of things, it's actually an NBA finals that I love. It's the Pacers and the Thunder. It's a little bit of a unexpected matchup for NBA sake, but it's nice. I think people think that say Celtics and Lakers and Warriors not being in it is a bad thing. I don't know why you'd think that, but whatever. That's my quick 30 seconds on other sports.
And now, Footballer Nation, we're going to get into our newest, and I think one of our favorite new segments, where we, here at Footballers Anonymous, do our quick picks. If you've never been with us before, first off, welcome, and thank you for listening for this long. You now get to experience one of the best parts of this After Hours podcast, where we take lots of random things and we make squads out of them. We do snake drafts, and in this case, we are actually doing a football mock draft, but with a twist. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We mentioned last week how NFL players have now been cleared to play in the 2028 Olympics for flag football. So Ian brought up the amazing idea, shout out Ian, for having us draft our own Olympic flag football teams. So, in this scenario, the flag football Olympics are happening this summer, and each one of us gets to draft a team. And I guess that's pretty much it. The only main rule is no one can draft the GOAT.
Correct. And just a quick rundown. Each round is a certain position. The first round being quarterback, second being running back, third and fourth being receiver, and fifth being tight end.
All right. So it is my turn this week to have the first overall pick. So I will be taking a quarterback. I did do lots of research on quarterbacks that I thought would be good for the position. I went outside of the NFL. I went to the NCAA. I even went to the American Flag Football League. But eventually, I really just kind of had to go with one man who's just really, really great on his feet. So with the first overall pick in the 2025 Flag Football Draft, I will be taking quarterback Lamar Jackson. I just feel like this is a very self-explanatory pick. While there are many guys that I maybe sentimentally would have liked to pick, he's just the first overall guy on his feet. He is easily the best for flag football.
I'm also going with an NFL quarterback. I know the Flag Football League was like, you're gonna disrespect us and pick only NFL players? Yeah, we are. Sorry.
100%.
With the second pick in the Footballers Anonymous Flag Football Draft, I'm taking quarterback Kyler Murray.
Interesting.
I think his running ability is something that is going to be very helpful in a flag football situation. I think he's a good enough passer to justify him being picked at 2.
Now for my first pick, I'm going to be taking a quarterback. And this one is not going to be a shocker at all. I said it would be. It's not going to be at all. I am taking quarterback Justin Fields with my pick. He's amazing.
I knew you would.
Very elusive, great scrambler, great passing capabilities. And hey, people are saying, what about the deep ball? Justin Fields isn't that good for his deep ball. The flag football field is shorter, so that's not a problem. You can't throw as deep anyway. Shout out Justin Fields. Now, I have the first pick at running back. I'm not going to think it. I'm not going to play it up. I'm taking Saquon Barkley. I think it's a pretty easy pick, pretty safe pick, pretty solid pick.
I figured you'd go that.
It is expected.
With the second pick, I'm actually going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yep.
Expected.
All right.
I think he's the safe pick there.
Absolutely. So I'm looking for more of a speed guy here. I knew I wasn't going to have the best running back pick, so I again went into some pretty deep research for this position. I looked at a lot of guys. I'm really looking for that speed factor and that elusiveness, because that is a great thing for flag football. And I eventually came to one man who has recently been terrorizing my NFL team. I'm going to be taking Kenneth Walker.
Oh, I respect that.
And now I have the first pick at my wide receiver 1. This seems like a no-brainer. This guy's fast. He can do it all. He's incredible. I'm taking Jamar Chase.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. That's who I expected.
My hands are tied a little bit. You know what? I think this is gonna be. No, I can get him later. I think I can get him later. I'm okay. I know he's a personality, and I don't like this player either. But I'm gonna take Tyreek Hill.
Totally valid.
Respect it. Get
He's
that
fast.
speed.
Man's fast.
Yeah.
Now I love this year. I get to pick both my quarterbacks back to back. First, I'm gonna take a guy that I think runs amazing routes, great hands, pretty good speed, pretty good elusiveness. I'm taking Lad McConkey.
Oh,
I'm at the receiver.
Interesting.
I think he's solid in every aspect. I think him and Fields have a great connection, especially out there on that field. Then with my second one, I did a lot of deliberation here. One guy I considered was Keenan Allen because I love his route running. His route running is spectacular, and that's something nice in flag football. But I'm going to go with a guy who had an amazing season. I love many fantasy rosters. Again, great route running, great hands. He's the type of guy to get up and get the ball when you need him to get up and get the ball. I'm taking Drake London.
what? Okay. Hey, I like that one.
Okay. This might be okay. To some people, this might be a bit of a sell pick. However, I, as a Bills fan, know very well what happens when you pair Kyler Murray with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
gonna do it. I'm gonna take DeAndre Hopkins just for the fact that I could get a Hail Murray in the flag football game at the very end of it.
That's very. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins. He's
also
a very big.
very big man.
He's a very big flag football guy too. He runs a league and he's a very big supporter, so he knows the game. So with my guy, so there are some very big names still on the board that I will briefly highlight. Just because they deserve it. I had DeAndre Hopkins on my board. Debo Samuel, he would be a very solid pick, even if he's getting a little older. I still like Debo. Devonta Smith, I think would actually be a great pick. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is still on the board. I will not be taking him. Honestly, shocked that no one else did, but there's some very solid rosters.
Have him on my board.
But this is a guy that I really wanted. I really thought a lot. This man, researching again, speed is a priority for me. Speed, size, and route running. I'm looking at this guy, faster than Tyreek Hill. Had an incredible season, okay? Won a championship. Taking Jeremiah Smith as my wide receiver too. Ohio State Buckeye Jeremiah Smith, who would be in the NFL if he wasn't too young to be drafted. This man is the best wide receiver in the NCAA and easily better than a good chunk of the wide receivers in the NFL. I really like him as wide receiver 2 to pair up with Jamar Chase. Put him in the slot.
You don't have to hide who you're picking at tight end, by the way.
Oh, hey, I have the first pick at tight end now for my final pick of this draft. I get all the tight ends I want, and it's really hard for me to pick. But there's one guy, there's one man, the greatest tight end in the entire NFL, the highest paid tight end in the NFL for his total of like 2 weeks, the man, the Arizona Cardinal, Trey McBride.
Yep.
I'm gonna go short and sweet here because he has had a very short but sweet career, except for the team he's on. I'm just gonna go ahead and take Brock Bowers.
Yep, I respect that. Had him on my board. I'm gonna keep mine short and sweet as well. I have Mr. Olympic, and I'm gonna make it very simple. I'm just going to take Sam Laporta.
Ooh, I love Laporta.
Great, he's a great size. He has some good speed as a tight end. Great pass catcher, great route runner, and that's if you pay attention to my team, that's really what I went for. I went with great route runners, great pass catchers.
Very, very solid. Actually, 3 very solid squads here. Easily, these would definitely be the gold, silver medal, or the gold, silver, bronze medal winners. And it would be pretty interesting to see who takes those. But if you disagree, make sure to let us know.
Leave a comment.
Leave a
Go
comment.
down to the comments, let us know who won the draft, grade each of our teams, and give us ideas for future drafts. We love to hear them, and we will take all of them into account. And if we don't do yours next week, good chance we'll do it in the following week.
But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for this episode of Footballers Anonymous. We would like to thank you so much for joining us this week. Your support means a lot. I'd like to encourage you to go and watch the UFL championship games this weekend because the UFL needs our support if we want to be able to watch it again next year and see them keep expanding. We'd also like to kindly invite you to subscribe to us on our YouTube, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook where we only post minion memes, follow us on TikTok and all the places. We are very close to 150 subscribers on YouTube. If we can do that before the UFL season is fully over, that would be incredible. We are also very close to 100 followers on Instagram. We would also love if we could get there before the UFL season is over. But with that, that's it. So, Footballer Nation, thank you so much for joining us. Let's ride.